Hello, guys, welcome back to another episode here on African Confessions. There is a message that I want to share with you guys, and this message it reads like this. Hello, my brother, how are you? Can you please post my own story as hidden identity? My brother, my story it goes on like this. I am a man who is aged 39. I want to tell you everything that happened to me from the time when I was somewhere around 18 until I was 25 when I was out of university. And it pains me a lot because whenever I think of my days in university, it hurts me a lot. And I lost my girlfriend whilst I was there in university. Not like I lost my girlfriend to another man, but because of the things that I did to her. So being in university, my brother, it came with a lot of challenges as a man who grew up very poor and coming from a poor background, and at the same time all that I wanted to become in life to be very successful. And at that time I can say that I was young and I was naive. I didn't know the proper ways of this world. I thought that everything was just for free, whereby you could just go and take everything that you want. When I arrived at university, I then started mingling and mixing with a lot of people that I saw that these ones they were bad influences. And back in our town, there was a lot of gangs. So I knew and I grew up in that environment whereby there was a lot of gangsterism that was going on, even though I never got the guts to join a gang. But now that I was in university, I thought that this was an opportunity for me to test how it was like to be in a gang, because when I had looked at some of the young boys that I had met there at university, most of them they were rich kids that just wanted to be in a social club. And I then got into their social club and I started to learn a lot of stuff. But usually the stuff that we were doing, it was partying, drugs, and dating a lot of women. I then managed to start dating this other girl. She was a beautiful girl who was focused on her education. And when she started dating me, she told me that she had seen that I was someone who was like a bad boy, and she felt it in her heart that she was there to change me. And she then started taking me to her church. She was so serious about church. I only pretended to go to her church because I then found out that her mom was a loaded woman. She had loads and loads of money. So I just wanted to be around her because she was going to be like my plan B if I was going to fail university. Then I was going to get married to her, and I knew that since her mom was a rich woman, I was going to benefit because I would have married her daughter, and there was no way that she was going to leave her daughter to suffer. Even when she would find out that I could not take care of her daughter, she was going to assist me. And I had actually made out a business plan in which I knew what kind of business that I was going to start once her mom would have given me the money that I was going to ask from her. So we went to university and things were really going great. I then taught her even how to take some light drugs, but I didn't want her to get involved into heavy stuff. Even when I was in that gang, I never wanted to be involved in that heavy stuff because I knew that once you are in doing that heavy stuff, there will be no more turning back for you. So I always made sure that I stay clear of from anything that involves of taking of heavy drugs. But me and her, we used to take those light drugs. We used to go to a lot of clubs, my brother, but being in the clubs, it made me to mingle again with a lot of men until I came across another man. This man, when I came across him, he told me that he was into selling girls. On that night, I was a little bit tipsy. When he said that he is into selling off girls, I didn't understand what exactly he was trying to tell me. But with time, the next time around, when I met him, that was when I found out that this guy, he owned several prostitutes. And in town, at that town where I was attending university, he had some spots whereby only his girls were allowed to sell his bodies. And when I tried to get into that game, my girlfriend, she then found out that this is what I was about to do. She then dumped me, my brother. After she had dumped me, I felt as if my world was now falling apart. The reason why I felt like my world was falling apart, because here I was in university, not even concentrating on my studies, because I had the roadmap to my life. I was going to get married to her, and I was going to use her, and I was going to dump her. And when she dumped me, after she had found out that I wanted to start a small business whereby I'll be owning several prostitutes, she said that there is no more salvation for you. I have tried as much as I can to take you to church, and I know that you are a bad boy, but I have tried even to take these drugs that you have been giving me, thinking that at the end of the day I am going to draw you close to God. That is how much she sacrificed for me. So many residencies that me and her, we stayed together, but we were always kicked out because of my behavior. Sometimes I would bring over my friends that were really loud and that were always drunk, so each and every time she would also suffer from those consequences whereby she was kicked out by the landlord, and she stayed by me all of those. And each and every time that she would be kicked out, she always managed to stay by me. But she then said that this was just too much and she didn't want to get involved in that business. And if her mom was going to find out, and if other people were going to find out that she belonged to a rich woman, maybe something bad was going to happen to her mom, because in that city there were issues of people being kidnapped. So that is how she just dumped me. And when she dumped me, my brother, I didn't even expect it. I thought that maybe it was a joke or something, but with time, when she kept on ignoring me, and finally when she told her mom about all of the bad stuff that I was doing, I then saw that there was no more relationship for me and her, because her mom then said that if you ever dare to touch my daughter again, it is going to be the end of your life. I felt so much pain, my brother, like I had never felt before. And when I saw that my relationship had ended, I said, what am I going to do? I knew that in our country there were a lot of people that were using juju, but I had never seen like someone using juju in front of me. I then went into this other shop. Whilst I was in that shop, just side to the till, because it was just a restaurant, and it was those restaurants whereby it would be just by the side of the road. I just wanted to buy some pure water. I then saw that there was this other paper that was next to the till. It was a printed out paper with the numbers that belonged to a voodoo priest. I then took that piece of paper, and when I went back home, I then started studying that piece of paper. I then marked the place where they were written. I then marked the place where they had written bring back lost lover, and I called that number. When I called that number, my brother, the money that the man requested, it was quite a lot. I then said, what am I going to do? Because I cannot let this girl go. I want her in my life. I then called her out of desperation. I lied to her that I was about to get kicked out of the place where I was staying, and she knew that my parents were really suffering. When a woman has decided to love you, my brother, she will love you, because at that time she then gave me the money. But what she didn't know is that the money that she was giving me, it was the money that I was going to use for those rituals, the dangerous rituals that I was about to do, that would end up with her dying. After she had given me the money, she said that if I was willing to fix myself, she was willing to date me again. So there was hope there. I then went to that voodoo priest. He then took me into a very small room, my brother. This room, the only thing that you could be able to do was to kneel down. Then already you'll be touching the corners of that small room. In that room, there was a white cotton cloth that was very white, and there were candles that were placed all around that white cloth. And then in front of this other red candle, there was a creature, a small creature that was designed in a kind of a way that I had never seen before. I can't even explain it, but this creature, it seemed to be breathing, even though I could not understand if it was alive or if it was just me who was hallucinating. Then that priest told me that I had to place the money just close to where that creature was, and I had to tell the creature everything that I wanted. I then told that creature that with this money I was purchasing its services so that it can go and enter into my ex-girlfriend's heart so that she can start thinking about me until she would have returned back to me. At that time, my girlfriend, she had told me that she was traveling out of town. She was going on this other church seminar. So when it happened, they were at that church seminar. That was when she started manifesting after that creature had gone so as to turn her heart towards me. Whilst she was in church, what the story that I heard was that whilst she was in church, that was when she started manifesting. And when the pastors saw that this was a demon that was speaking through her, they then brought her in front of the church, not knowing if the pastors were the ones that were not strong or if that priest was the one that was very strong. So as they were praying, then the creature started to suffer. Then that priest on his own side, he started to send more charms. So it was evil fighting against those pastors. And this girl that I was dating, she manifested for hours and hours. They said that she died out of exhaustion because what I heard was that the way that her body was acting out, when someone is demon possessed, they lose control over her, they lose control over their own body. So for hours and hours, this body was turning her body parts in different directions, and she was really exhausted. These pastors, instead of looking for help or even taking her to the hospital, they thought that they were going to succeed in chasing away of the evil spirit that was manifesting through her. But unfortunately, she then passed away in the early hours of the next day. When she passed away, my brother, when I heard those rumors, this was after a friend had called me and told me that my ex-girlfriend, she had died. And I really got shocked, my brother. I then switched off my phone because I was afraid. And I ran back to that priest and I told him everything that had happened. He said that yes, he knew everything that had happened because those pastors, they were trying to destroy his shrine with fire. So he wanted to fight fire with fire and to show them that he was really powerful. He even said that more bad things were going to come into those pastors' life because they had tried to fight with this shrine, which is a very powerful shrine. I then said that what is going to happen to me? He then said that for me to get the security, I was supposed to pay him, and after paying him, he was going to do more charms for me so that I can be protected from my ex-girlfriend's spirit. I said, how much do you want? The money that he wanted this time around, it was even more than the amount that he had charged me the first time around. I said, where am I going to get this money? The only place that I could get this money, I knew that back home, my mom, she had been saving up some money for the next year when I was about to finish my university. That money, she was not keeping it in a bank in our country. It's not like everyone who keeps their money in the bank because of the value of our money. When I went back to my mom, it was like I was just visiting her, nothing else. When I went there, that was when I stole the money. I stole the money on the day that I was supposed to return back to varsity. After I had stolen that money, I then visited that priest and I paid him the rest of that money. That priest then gave me 4 candles. He told me that these 4 candles, the way that I was supposed to use them each and every day, I had to light up 1 candle and I was not supposed to switch it off when it was still during the night time. I was only supposed to switch it off the next day when the sun would have already risen up and there will be light in my bedroom. When it was still dark in my bedroom, I was not supposed to switch off the light. So that is what I did, my brother. For 4 constant days, I was doing this thing each and every day. And after I was done, I then returned back to that priest. He said that now you are protected as long as I am still alive and you are never going to face any challenges. I then said that what is going to happen to me in the event that you are going to die? A spirit, is it not going to come and mess me up? He then said that as long as this shrine is still powerful, you are protected. He then said that a spirit is only allowed to come to you by God only after a given time that God is allowed me to protect you. I said, How many years do I have? That was when that man said that each and every candle that he had given me, it represented 10 years. So I have 40 years, my brother, before the spirit of my ex-girlfriend will start to mess up with me, even my own offspring. So at that time, my brother, I did it because I didn't have a child yet. But now that I have gotten married and I have 2 kids, I keep on thinking about that prophecy that the priest gave me, which says that only after 40 years, that is when God is going to allow the spirit of my ex-girlfriend to visit my bloodline. So what is going to happen to these kids that God gave me? And these are boys, which means that if it is possible, my bloodline is going to continue. Does it mean that there is a time whereby the spirit will only trouble my generation, then after troubling my bloodline, then it will go and rest? That the priest never gave me any answer. I know that the thing that I did at that time, it was out of fear. Now that I am more mature, I feel that everything that I did, it is very selfish, and I am even afraid to go and visit another priest because I am afraid that maybe I'll do more rituals that will end up with me sacrificing even my own wife or sacrificing my child. So I just said that the things that I did, the mistakes that I did in the past, let them be the last mistakes that I did. Maybe one day before I die, I am going to suffer the consequences. Maybe if I suffer the consequences of my actions when I am about to die, I think that it will be far much better. What I do not want is for my offspring to suffer because of the sins that I committed.